Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from Zenzima. I'm from Neurodivergent Business Consortium, and I welcome you all to join our live webinar today. We have a very special guest with us. I will introduce her in a minute. You know that we run this live webinar every Tuesday, midday. Sometimes it's relative different time due to the availability of the speakers, but mostly we do it 12 to 1 every Tuesday, and we talk about a lot of individual tactics and a lot of individual things that you need to know as a neurodivergent individuals. So I will introduce my guest now, and she is Kirsty Haywood McDonald. Specifically, she has a lot of talent. As you know, that neurodivergent people, they have many talents, and if we nurture those talents, you become very productive and you become very successful. So Kirsty is very successful, I would say, and today we're going to be discussing navigating career development for neurodivergent. I think this is the thing that we should look into as a neurodivergent person. And Kirsty, if you could introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Hi, thank you very much for having me today. And bear with me, I'm a little nervous. I am an accountant, mentor and entrepreneur, and I'm representing today Haywood McDonald Accountancy Services. We are accountants and bookkeepers, and we also specialise in supporting neurodivergent and disabled entrepreneurs. We offer accommodation plans, and we do like a needs assessment and accommodation plan on the onboarding process to help support our clients where they need it the most. One size just doesn't fit all, and we are aware of that. So I'm very passionate about sustainability. Also, we've reduced our carbon footprint quite extensively, and we help our clients do that too, measure and reduce the carbon footprint. And I'm very passionate about inclusivity and levelling up.
Thank you, Kirsty. Am I spelling your name right? Because I have problem with my pronunciations due to my...
It's okay, it's a mouthful anyway. So it's Kirsty Haywood McDonald, but it is a mouthful.
Kirsty, thank you. So
I answer to Kay as well.
So viewers, you know that we cover every week individual topics, and this is my favorite topic, career development for neurodivergent individuals, because due to neurodiversity, we know that most of us, we suffered massively, because if you are autistic or if you are ADHD or in any other spectrum, sometimes we are overwhelmed with ideas, because when we think, we can think a greater speed than the lightning is, because we think that our brain works faster and faster and faster, and sometimes it becomes more faster. But when you can nurture that, you can have a specific career developments for you to lead to the success. I have done myself. Yes, I have gone through huge career developments, and then I came to this stage. Now I support individuals. If you wanted to grow your career in education, if you wanted to grow career in other aspects, because the thing we don't have when we are new or when we don't know how to nurture this is the mentorships. So I had mentorships, and Kirsty will discuss that in details as well. Those things that we have learned specifically with our long-lasting career as well as developments. Now we are in this stage. So, Kirsty, the first thing that I would want you to discuss is, I know that you are an accountant, and why did you choose this career path rather than working under someone or taking less hassles? Because doing a business and supporting this community is huge pressure. And why do you want to do that?
So I had a physical disability, so I needed a desk job, so I retrained. That's why I originally became an accountant. It was a job I quite fancied doing, so I thought I'd give it a shot. I was doing a law degree, and it just turned out that we thought we might move to an area where that might not work, so I switched to accountancy. Um, I was in industry for a while, getting experience as I got my qualifications.
Mhm.
But then through COVID, I was made redundant, and I wanted, because my disability, my physical disability, was cited as one of the reasons. I hadn't had any time off, and I'd saved holidays for a surgery. So I went away and thought about it, and I thought actually this was an opportunity to create a disability inclusive business,
Mhm.
and that is exactly what I've done. I wanted it to be sustainable. Obviously, I'm still working on it. You know, you can always improve, but we're
Mhm.
3.5 years in now, and that's exactly what I've done. I've set up a disability inclusive business, and not only do we have a high percentage of our team are either neurodivergent or disabled or both, we also now specialize in, it was the most natural thing in the world, to be honest with you, to roll out those accommodations to the clients. And it was
Mhm.
actually feedback from a client that made us realize this was probably our niche. And so we investigated that, and here we are.
Thank you. I think most of the neurodivergent business owner, uh, they come up with the idea that they can do better when they work alone or when they work with their initiatives. So that's why you see there are many individuals in they're doing businesses because the 9 to 5 job space is sometimes not suitable for most of the neurodivergent people because maintaining colleague behavior or understanding the work, a lot of other things, pressure. Sometimes what I do, sometimes I think that, okay, I'm not in a mood to go do my work. But if we go to 9 to 5 work, it's difficult, isn't it? Oh, why you are not doing work? Because you don't have mood to do work. So you are hired to do work. So we're going to be talking more on those things, like how, why we need a specific way that our business should be for neurodivergent. And when we are building our own businesses, do we take care of the neurodivergent population that we faces in other places? So, Kirsty, my another question would be, navigating for career developments is a huge field. So in that way, what specific elements of these huge fields you take care of?
You mean in terms of looking at for strengths?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think with neurodivergent employees there, and with our clients as well, we see this
Mhm.
as a pattern. There
Mhm.
are so many strengths. If you look at things like detail focus and hyper focus, that can be
Mhm.
really valuable in a business. You
Mhm.
can get meticulous work done, very high degree of accuracy,
Mhm.
um, and thorough research. If it's something you're wanting to research and you're really interested in, you can really hyper focus and get some incredible detail
Mhm.
down. Analytical skills, pattern recognition is a really good one, especially for us, because
Yes.
pattern recognition for things like bank recs, data analysis, it's been invaluable for identifying trends, predicting outcomes, optimizing processes, all those kind of things. Pattern recognition is a really good one.
Mhm.
Um, I'd say the passion and dedication of my team is incredible, and they blow me over all the time with it. There's just such a strong work ethic, um, driven to excel in the areas that they're interested in, but also the empathy that they have for each other and for the clients is incredible to see.
Mhm.
The out of the box thinking, and I know this is a bit of a classic, but
Yes.
I cannot stress how incredible it is, and it's my favorite one.
Mhm.
Um, it's such creative problem solving, out of the box thinking. Our team strategy sessions are absolute fire, absolute gold. One person can come up with an idea, and between us we will work out how to make that work, how to make that
Mhm.
happen. If we come up against obstacles, we will find a way around it
Mhm.
if we know it's the right thing to do. And those ideas that everyone comes up with and we all bounce off each other, it's incredible. And I think you then create a stronger team, because
Mhm.
if you have a more inclusive work environment and everyone feels valued, and everyone's playing to their strengths, the team dynamics are so much better. You're more about collaboration than competition, and it makes a much stronger team.
I totally agree with you, because when neurodivergent people, they work together, they understand, the neuroplasticity as well as neurons, they talk each other. For myself, if I specifically talk to someone, if they're neurodivergent, I can feel that, okay, the neuron they are talking, and it's like scientific as well. There are some research going on over there. So if we go in front with another person, the neuron, the sounds, they talk to each other. They understand the body languages. They understand the clues. They understand a lot of the individual things. We will talk about that in a different webinar. So to the audience, if you wanted
sounds
to,
fascinating as well.
yes, if you wanted to send us messages, you've already been sending us messages. So I'm just going to be opening my messaging to show you the messages we're receiving. So Kathleen Helm, thank you very much for you sending your messages. So you are the first one. So I'm just going to share my messaging with the audience. That can you read the message, Kirsty?
Yep, I can see it. I think we also struggle to work in a way that doesn't align with our values, and finding an organization that truly lives their values is sometimes easier said than done.
That's totally acceptable, and that's the thing, that most organization, they, yes, due to the work ethics and due to the laws and others, all the organization, they are positive for neurodivergent, disabled, LGBTQ, and all other communities. But this positiveness sometimes is like very difficult to achieve. Why? There are some tick boxes. So when there is tick boxes that you can tick it, that means if you fulfilled one desire, you are safeguarded with that tick. But there are another 100 or 99 tick boxes that you don't comply with. So
or you make the policies and you don't stick to the policies. I think that's another one that we see. People create the policies to, like you say, tick that box.
Yes.
But they don't action those policies. And I think it's really important that you put your money where your mouth is.
I totally agree with you, because these tick boxes, they normally don't safeguard, I would say 90 to 90% of the disabled and neurodivergent and all other population. Because in a workplace, if you can engage one disabled person, you have a tick box that you have followed the guidelines, government guidelines. But one person, they could be anyone. So what about the rest of the population? So that's why, Kirsty, you and me and all other innovative neurodivergent people or disabled people coming with their own ideas and bringing their own organization is supporting these people. So whenever I talk to someone, I ask them, okay, do you have any disabilities, or do you think that you are neurodivergent, or do you have anything? You can tell me, and I will prioritize that. I will get you onboarded, because I know the problem I have faced, and I don't want that to happen again. So
I think it's also important to, some people might not know they're neurodivergent. They might be very early on in that journey or not actually started that journey. I think it's really important as well to sort of observe, isn't it, and ask the right questions, because they might not be aware of it themselves.
I totally agree with you. So we have other guests. They have sent messages. So Mohammed Mahbub Alam, he's welcoming you to for the webinar. We have Redwan Bhuya. Just give me a second. To saying that what are the common misconceptions about neurodiversity that you often encounter in professional environment?
So I think sometimes people think it's a trend, or it's been used as an excuse to be lazy, and they look at what I consider some, we talked about the strengths before. I think sometimes people don't see those as strengths, they see those as obstacles. So that's what we're up against, I think. Actually, let's look at the strengths and let's see them as they are, their strengths, and work with them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Kirsty. We're going to be talking to more of the questions that was shared with the audience today. We just wanted to dive into the detail of identifying opportunities for career growth. So, neurodivergent people, we mostly are in the cocoon. So how do we identify that what career path we should choose? That's one. Another one, if I'm selecting the right career path or not, because sometimes as I'm neurodivergent, I have 10 individual strengths that I can be capable of, and I don't know which one I can be successful. So how do we do that?
So to find out what your strengths are, I think there's a number of ways that you can do it. There has to be self-reflection, I think, on the part of the employee themselves. They know how they feel, they know what they enjoy. As well as an employer, you can observe and ask questions to kind of make them think about that information. And also from your observations, you might say to them, did you find that enjoyable? Did you find that difficult? And sort of those leading questions, really, to try and get that open communication going. One thing that we found really helped was doing job swaps. So not only did we have empathy for each other, for what each other did, we also found some people really enjoyed certain tasks better than others. Some people were better than others, and some people thought, well, actually, if we mix and match these roles together, and I appreciate that not every business can do that, but we were in a lucky position where we could. Sometimes if you can mix and match those jobs, you can create a job where somebody is really good at everything almost, and they're really, really enjoying it. And then you can consider career progression as a separate sort of thing and get a plan in place. But to really identify those strengths, also a learning style, I think, is really important. Asking those questions about how do you learn the best? Do you prefer hands-on? Do you prefer somebody showing you, then you have a go? Do you prefer a video? Do you want written instructions? Like we use Scribe and Loom, they're really good. That also helps people build their confidence. They go, oh, actually, I'm pretty good at that, and it builds their confidence as well, which is really good, and then encourages them to progress. Also looking at specific work environments that would optimize your focus and productivity. And also think what's just as important is looking at what doesn't work, what not to do, what doesn't work, and try to eliminate those sort of scenarios as far as possible. And then tailor opportunities where you can. So this again starts to become a theme of things that you're good at, things that you enjoy, where you want to go, and start tailoring these opportunities and tweaking, be flexible where you can. And then upskilling. So to have this development plan and then upskill, but again, research these different opportunities of ways you can do it. So you've identified a skill gap and then propose training in the form that would work for that employee, whether it be online courses, conferences, workshops. And I think the other important thing is, if your team is big enough, really get your leaders and your managers educated as well. And then if you can fund these things, great, but not every business can afford to. But at least try and help with the materials, pay for the materials if you can. And again, if you can't do that, at least help them, like give them time off, be flexible. Say, yeah, okay, you want to go to college, that's great. We'll move it around so that we can give you that opportunity to go to college or day release, or and again, if you can, bring a mentor in, a career mentor. They're really valuable to sort of help work out where you want to go in your career and give you opportunities, things you might not have thought of.
I totally agree with you, Kirsty. We have some more messages, so we're going to go through with the messages. So thank you to all the audiences that we have joined today. We will have a great sessions. As usual, we talk every Tuesday to talk about one of the things that we love, one of the things that will help, and one of the things that will create new opportunities and changing behaviors. So I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from Neurodivergent Business Consortium, and we have Kirsty McDonald's. So we're going to be talking more on those things. Before I jump into that, if you wanted to contact Kirsty directly, please feel free to contact her through the social media, DM her through LinkedIn and other social media. And if you wanted to talk to me directly, please feel free to contact me or DM me through LinkedIn and other social media. So we will talk more on those things. So we have another Kathleen. I think you just have a remark here. They're finding an easier way to do things, problem solving. So you just spoken about that how we can do things easier. And sometimes it's difficult for us to understand the clue. So if you are working with a neurodivergent business owners or neurodivergent candidates, what would be the good way to understand their needs? Because I can give an example of myself. If I go to any workplace and someone asks me to do something, if that is not written in a specific order, I fail to understand. I ask them, what you have asked me? They said, okay, I asked you, there's the email. I said, no, I don't want that way. You need to ask me, this is your first priority, this is your second priority, or this is the one, this is the result you want. And then I can do it. Otherwise, if you tell me a story, okay, Shah, I want you to do this, and what is my priority? So how do you tell people to do that? Because when I work with people, I do similar way, because I think neurodivergent people, if you give them specific way that, okay, I want this from you, I want this from you, I want this from you, this is your priority. So you don't need to think about your priority. You don't need to think, you just need to know what you need to do and what results you bring. How do you work with them?
So what we do with our clients and with our team is,
Yes.
when they come on board on the onboarding process for both, we go through a needs assessment and we ask, because everybody's different. So it's that classic, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Everybody's very different. So two people with autism might present very, very differently and have different needs. So we go through everything from what they find difficult, what they need support with, to how we communicate with them. And I think that's probably the biggest one. So do they like phone calls? Do they not like phone calls? It's also very important to know not what not to do. So we would go through everything about how they like what we need from them presented. Do some people like a summary and then detail underneath, or they'll like it in stages? They don't want it all together, they want it in stages. So that we go through all of this and find out exactly how they want us to be with them, to support them in the best way possible, to play to their strengths. And then from that, we create an accommodation plan, which is regularly reviewed because needs might change. And we document that on our CRM, and that's there for everyone. We are very, we tell our clients that that's for everyone to see, because people that are working on their accounts need to know how to communicate with them. But the communication one is probably the biggest one, in all honesty, how we communicate.
I totally agree with you, because when there are some communication gaps and communication boundaries, it's difficult for neurodivergent people to understand, okay, what's been said and what we need to do. So that's very interesting. We're going to talk more about that. So I'm just going to answer some of the questions now. So we have one question from Salodin. Thank you very much, Salodin, for your question. So he asks, what practical steps can companies take to start building a more inclusive culture today?
I think I've got some notes on this, actually. Yes, there's an awful lot of things that you can do. I think it's important to build that support system for your employees. Having open communication is absolutely vital, and training your team, your managers, training them as well. HR, it's really important for there to be someone that's trained, that they can go to get help if needed. But also, if you get that leadership commitment from your team as well, that they're going to try and help. If you're big enough, your company's big enough, you might have an employee resource group, which can be about educating the rest of the team It can also be a safe space for neurodivergent people to go and support each other. Again, if your company is large enough, not every company is large enough, but I think it's always good to have one person at least that people can go to that's very well trained, if not lived experience, but very well trained, that they can go to. There's lots of professional organisations as well that you can get help from. Disability Confidence, DWP do a disability confidence scheme. They have lots of resources and support. National Autistic Society, ADHD Foundation, Dyslexia Organisation. There's lots and lots of companies that have resources and will often come in and look at your systems and processes and suggest things that you can do. But very much about education, so you can maybe run workshops. We find that team coaching as well is really good, but just really encourage that open dialogue, questions and answers. And if you can have a Q&A where people can address, it's like an open space to ask the questions and get the answers and have a bit more understanding. I think people are often a lot more, if they understand the situation, they're a lot more empathetic. But very much about creating that safe space, and again, speak to your employee and find out what it is they need, and then, you know, do they need a quiet area, do they need equipment, which we can obviously go into. There's lots of initiatives, things like noise cancelling headphones if they're finding noise difficult, or finding that quiet space where they can go and decompress, or make their area where they work quieter. There's text to speech software. Different furniture like standing desks sometimes can help. Again, it depends on your employee, so you need to find out what it is they need, and then you can make a plan of implementing things. And there's help out there as well. You know, there's access to work that can help with the cost of some of this as well.
Yes, we're going to talk more on that. I just have another questions from Kazi Shahrin. I'm just going to share that with you. That how can managers and HR professionals identify and create career growth opportunities, especially tailored for neurodivergent employees?
So I think everybody should have the same opportunity to grow their career if that's what they want. I think then it's finding out how they need to be supported to get where they want to be. So the opportunities is absolutely the same for absolutely everybody. It's just to get people there might be a different sort of support network. So you just need to ask those questions and find out what they need. And then when you promise to do something, do it.
I agree with you. So Kathleen, I think it's just echoed, but anyway, Kathleen, thank you very much. I'm just going to show your message again, Kathleen. Was just saying how it is a strength of neurodivergent people. Thank you, Kathleen, for your remark. Yes, neurodivergent people, we have a strength, but we also have weaknesses. And if we can nurture and minimize that gaps from our weaknesses to the strength, then we become successful. So that's why we're talking about it, that how you can properly balance your neurodivergent characteristics, as well as you cannot do those things. So when I was working in various people, so there is a myth there that you need to improve the capacity you don't have. You need to improve that. But those capacities you're very good at, you don't consider that to be stand out. So I was talking last time, so with a Team GB para athletics physiotherapist and psychiatrist, and he said that we change our tactics. I said, what? Because my tactics is to for any neurodivergent, that you grow your strength the way that other people cannot. So you become successful with the things that you like. You become successful with the thing that you are very good at. So the person was telling me, yes, we implement these tactics with the para athletes. I said, why you did it? Because when you have like a good strength and you can manage and you are successful, normally you will consider the neuroplasticity to grow the other one as well. But when you're trying the average one to grow, you cannot, because you need to have your strength such a way to support it. So do you have anything to the audiences that when you're working, what should we look into? Like, okay, I have a strength, I have weaknesses. What should we do? What would be the best formula for anyone to access working or engage in developments?
Can you just summarize that question for me? I'm just not quite following what you mean.
So you know that when we talk about a neurodivergent and their strength, so
Yeah.
shall we consider to support and grow their specific strength to a level they become more successful, or we work with the average one? Okay, you don't have a strength, but with work you will get succeeded. What would be the best scenario? Because sometimes for myself, I prefer to have the specific strength to be grown first, and then consider the other one that we cannot. Or what would be the specific, because you're working more with neurodivergent populations and workforce. What would you suggest for them?
I think everyone has strengths. They perhaps just don't know quite what they are yet. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
needs investigating, what are their strengths. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I think this is very individual. Learning styles are very individual. So
Mm-hmm.
some people might know what their strengths are or might need support in finding those strengths, then building on those strengths, that then builds confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there on, you see where they want to go and then work on things that they struggle with to help support that. But I think it's very individual. I really don't believe one size fits all. I think it's individual to that person. So again, it's asking those questions.
Mm-hmm.
What do they think their strengths are? You can observe as well and say, I think your strengths are this. Would you agree? But yeah, very individual.
Mm-hmm. I see that. So we have another questions from Zakir Khan. So thank you very much, Zakir, for sending these questions. So he just asks, can you provide examples of successful interventions or accommodations that have helped neurodivergent employee to thrive?
So I think you can have, access to work is very, very good in terms of providing equipment, especially if it's a small business and you're struggling to afford it. There's lots of equipment that you can have, things like mentioned before, sort of noise cancelling headphones for people that have that are overstimulated with sound, getting the lighting right if people have sensory issues. There's software, sort of text to speak software might be useful. Standing desks can be useful. Having sort of safe, quiet spaces can be useful. Fidget toys can be very useful. Lots of things like that. But again, sort of ask your team members. Mentoring's really good. Coaching, to have those specific, to put specific help in place for the things that you struggle with. So mentoring is really good, and coaching. We find that coaching works really well with us to work together as a team, but also individuals. So we have both. We have coaching to work together, and individuals have one-on-one sessions with a coach, and that's completely confidential as well. So that would never come back to me. Anything that's been discussed in those conversations would never come back to me, which I think is a nice sort of space, safe space. I'm just trying to think what else that we do. Sometimes communication, again, it's about how people want that, how they learn, how they want that to be communicated with. So you might put something on your email footer like, please book in, obviously the way you want to phrase it in terms of your business, but you might want people to book in phone calls, and you might put that on your email footer for sake of argument. But again, I think having those, we have that communication with our clients as well, and say, I have these accommodations. This member of staff that's working will have these accommodations, and you have these accommodations. So we need to find a way of making those all work together. So having a plan for that. Adjustable lighting is also a good one for sensory issues. And sometimes things like focus mate can be really good. So body doubling, accountability sessions, body doubling, that's focus mate, or you might be able to do it internally. We sometimes do that. We jump on a Google Meet and we'll have the body doubling if people are really struggling with procrastinating. Sometimes just having that person there to support, especially in a virtual world that we're working in, can sometimes help. So things like that.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirsty. We're going to be having some more questions. So to the audience, if you wanted to ask us questions, feel free to ask us through the comment box. And today, I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and we have Kirsty Haywood McNeils with me to discuss career developments. We're going to be talking more on career developments, how you can have a versatile career, even though you are neurodivergent or disabled person, because sometimes disability and neurodiversity, they can be overlapped. Like myself, I have disabilities and neurodiversity, and for Kirsty as well. So in that circumstances, how do we know that what support is available from where? Because when you look into, when I work with individual person, they say that okay, they don't know anything existing. Like if you say access to work or any other things. What would be the good scenario for anyone from the audience if they think okay, they wanted to get help, and if they can get help from the right maybe government scheme or something like that?
So there's lots of charities out there that do free resources, and they're very, very good. So I would definitely recommend looking at those. But Access to Work, we highly recommend access to work to people. So what you can do there, it's DWP, so it's the UK based audience that's relevant to. You would put in an application and you can put in as much detail as you can. So if you know what you need, you can state at that point you know what you need. Or if you're not really sure, you can ask for a workplace assessment, and that will delay it a little bit because you'll have to wait for an assessor. But it does also help if you don't know what you need and what you can ask for. At the moment, I think there's about an 18-week wait for a workplace assessment. So I do sort of advise people to get their applications in as soon as. And again, if you're struggling with that, because I get it, you know, you might procrastinate, you might struggle to do that. Just to ask someone to body double you, just ask someone to either read it through with you, or you could share your screen, or just even sit with you and do it. That, you know, can help but get that application in. But again, a lot of things that you can ask for with Access to Work can really help. So they can help as an employer, because you might not be able to afford the things that the staff member needs, but also as an employee, you could then get that support that you need from Access to Work. So they will go through absolutely everything. They will go through what your job role is. So it's important to perhaps get your job description in front of you so that you can go, well, actually, this is what I'm expected to do in my job, to a good level, and make a list if you can of the things, the parts of that you struggle and why. And then they might make suggestions of various bits and pieces that they can help, and that, you know, they pay for it. So if you are in your first 6 weeks, or you're due to start a job in your first 6 weeks, you need to tell them that, because I do think that pushes you up the list a little bit, because you're new to a role. Whereas if you've been in a role for a while, sometimes you've just gone the normal waiting list, as I say, which is about 18 weeks at the moment. So yeah, it's really valuable. It's really helpful, both as an employee and as an employer, to kind of go down that route. But they can offer all sorts of support and things that you haven't thought of. We've had clients that have had, well, we create a list. So every time somebody is awarded something, we say, okay, can we ask what you've sort of been awarded, if you're open to that? And we make a list of things so that we can make suggestions to our clients as well of things that might help. Yeah, as I say, things from software to standing desks. Support workers is another one. People sometimes might struggle with travel, so they sometimes can get support workers, virtual assistants, especially for entrepreneurs that are running their own business. There's all sorts of extra support that they might need, because you don't have anyone that you're accountable to. All sorts of things, from loops, you know, the loop earplugs, again, the noise cancelling headphones. You would be expected as an employer to make reasonable adjustments and pay for those yourself. So very often we'll find things like, you know, if you need a second monitor, that would be classed as a reasonable adjustment usually. You know, doesn't tend to be high price items, but you would be expected to do things like that. One of the other things that Access to Work will support with, and this is available to anybody, and it's also quicker to get this in place, is they do mental health support. And that's not just for neurodivergent people, that's for anyone. Able Futures and Maximus provide that, and that tends to be quite a quick turnaround. I've had that myself. I've had the application in and they fill the form in for you as well, which is also really helpful. And that was turned around. I was getting support within 3 to 4 weeks. So that was a lot quicker. But things like note takers are really helpful. Often we will do that, and then there's a live link, so people can also have that to look at later. But sometimes people, prefer it to have the written as well as the verbal. I'm just having a look at my list here. Yeah, coaching. Coaching, they will provide coaching for the whole team and individually, which is really useful, because I think the whole team need to be on board with it, and they need to understand it's about education. Yeah, lots of things like that.
So
rambled on a bit there, but
talk about these benefits and other things. How long they will go for? Because I intend to have some people, they ask me, even when I was dealing with my specific case, I was dealing myself. The people, they are working on the access to work. They are very much okay. You have to do this. You have to do that. These things has to be happen, and we cannot give you more than a year, and then we will reassess you, and so on. So, how safe I am for accessing these benefits? They will be cut off in a point that I cannot access them anymore?
The TID to offer the coaching tends to be for a year, because that's really to teach you coping strategies, which then you can take forward and use. So those coping strategies do tend to be for a year. The mental health support, I think, is for 9 months. But again, this is to underpin support and help you learn how to put these strategies in place. But in terms of equipment, obviously big pieces of equipment probably should last. Like if you had a standing desk, that probably should last you a few years. But for the rest of it, very often they'll review that, and that's ongoing. So it's only like the big things, like big pieces of equipment or the coaching, that we're finding is lasting for 12 months. But anything after that, you can still get support after that, and it can be reviewed.
That's fine. So to our audience, if you wanted to ask any questions, we are open for questions. We are nearly end of the sessions. We didn't realize that it's going so fast. We just have another 16, 17 minutes. We're going to talk more on how you can have career developments. So if you wanted to ask questions, feel free to access through the comment box. And I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and so we have Kirsty Haywood McNulls, and we are talking about how we can support you with our organizations and with my organizations, that supporting you to get out there. Because when you suffers, if you don't get help, the suffering can be very expensive, because you might have a mental health problem, you might have other problems, and to sort this out, I think you need to ask for help. That's the first thing that we always request people, that okay, I know that you are in a problem. Have you asked help? Because if you asked help, there are many organizations around us that they will come and support you. You don't need to pay. You don't need to talk to. You don't need to do anything if you ask help. So they will signpost you. So if you come back to us, we can signpost you if we cannot provide that support with you. But we're going to be very quick. Like, okay, someone is having a mental health problem. So who do we refer them to? And supporting them with the right tools. Yes, we support people with placements. We support people with access to work and other things. But there are few things that we don't do. So, but we can signpost you to do that. So if you wanted to contact Kirsty, please feel free to contact her through social media. She's there, and she will support you the best of her knowledge, and as well as she could tailor anything that she is capable of. And same for me. When we talk about navigating challenges and overcoming barriers, we have talked a lot of individual things within our conversation today. For career developments, we know that the government, they support, specifically if you are disabled or anything else, with the access to work or any other things. How effective we need to be, like to challenge our situation, because the inner self is the most thing, isn't it? For any neurodivergent person, if we wanted to change our situation, then we can. Then the support can support you, but otherwise it cannot. So when we're thinking of career change or when we're thinking of career development, how effective we have to be.
I think it's really important, yes, that you say to ask for the help. And as an employer, I think it's really important to observe and also offer help. But for me, if you put those accommodations in place, it's really important you use them, because it's no good sort of asking for all these accommodations and having all these accommodations in place. But if you don't use them, nothing's going to change and nothing's going to help you. So I think that is probably my biggest piece of advice for both the employee and the employer, because ultimately you do have a job to do and it does have to be at the same standard as everyone else. Otherwise it's discrimination. Everyone has to do a good job. So if you've got the tools to help you to do that job, then use them. And if they're not right, say, and they need to be tweaked and reviewed until they are right. I think that's what I would say.
Thank you. Sorry, excuse me, just hoping. Yeah, thank you very much, Kirsty. We're going to be asking you some more questions related to work adjustments and creating inclusive environment. So sometimes we hesitate, like, okay, we have a needs, we have needs, but we hesitate to inform the employer, or we hesitate to employ the co-worker that, okay, I think that I need that support. What we would do in that instances, because if we hesitate, the managers or line managers, they wouldn't know what support we need. What we do in that circumstances, like if we're hesitating or if we think that I will be penalized due to my neurodiversity or disability, that if I say that because I did not inform them previously.
I think it's really important to go with the evidence and with the sort of help. If you go to your employer and say, look, I'm really struggling with these things, but here's some recommendations, like, don't just go with the problem, also go with some solutions as well. And I think as an employer, it's really important to educate yourself and educate your managers so that people aren't in that position, and it is an open policy that they can come and talk to you. But also as the employee, if you're a little bit worried about that, then go with a solution as well. Go with ideas, go with suggestions, and show that you've been proactive. You've not just gone and said, this is hard. You deal with it. I think if you are showing initiative and showing that you've done some research and these are the things that you think might help, that would be a really positive move.
And what about if I'm self-employed, or if I'm just having my own company? What would we do in that circumstances? How do we seek help?
So there's some really good online groups on Facebook. There's some really good online groups if you're on Facebook. I think as well, a lot of the charities offer some help. Again, you've got your access to work. So whether you're an employee or it's your own business, you can get help with access to work. But get that community around you, find your tribe and share ideas. There's a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of people sharing ideas. Like, as I say, we don't just do people's accounts, we also help them with access to work applications and things like that. But there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people that will share their insights and help you with that. You just need to ask, and as I say, go and look for your tribe, really, and get that support. You're not on your own. You're absolutely not on your own.
I totally agree with you, Kirsty, because you have to, as I said, it's your inner self that you need to understand that, okay, you have a disability, or you have something that you need help with. So if you suffers, that's up to you. No one gonna know what you are suffering with. So you need to tell people, you need to find a solution that can support you to sustain, that can support you to go beyond your limits, because you see lots of suicide, you see lots of things that are happening throughout our community. But you have to trigger a point that, okay, you don't do that, you seek help. And there are people out there. There are lots of charities, like if there are princess charities. There are charities from the royal families. There are charities from root levels peoples. So to help you, to support you. So if you think that, okay, you need additional supports in mental health or any other aspects, you have to raise your hands. You have to ring the bell, because without ringing the bell, no one would know. No one would know, and no one could help you, because you're probably thinking, okay, if someone know about your mental health or someone know about your neurodiversity, they will penalize you. But otherwise, what you can do? If people penalize you, there are those people. There are people, good people and bad people in the community. So some people, they will see differently. Some people, they will help you. I think more people nowadays, they know about neurodiversity, they know about disability, and they will support you. Yes, you will have some negative people. There will always be negative people, bullies, and other things. But if you worry about that, and if you do not seek help, that's the end of the day. So we are nearly end of our session, Kirsty. We're going to be talking 5 key takeaways from these conversations. So I'm not sure you have a pen and paper, because sometimes it helps to let people know 5 key takeaways to talk about what we have talked about today: career development, navigating effective communication, adversary, identifying opportunity and career growth, and inclusive work environment. So we have spoken individual things today. So what would be the 5 key takeaways from this live webinar, and how our audience can get supported by you?
So you might have to count for me here. I would say create a truly inclusive work environment, make it a nice, safe space for people. It's an ongoing process, but start that right at the recruitment stage. So look at your policies and look at your recruitment stage and make that really accessible right from the get-go. Make these accommodations, do accommodation plans and make accommodations. Regularly gather that feedback from your employees to make sure that the needs being met, and tweak it if it's not right. Part of that is educating your team as well, and yourself as a leader, and your managers really have that education there, and that open communication, I think, is really important. I've always said, be open to change, listen, review and improve. Just be aware that you're not perfect and that you might have to keep tweaking these policies. We're not perfect. We're still working on improving what we do. And we always will, because we're not perfect, and we put our hands up, we're not perfect, but we're better than we were, and that's the important bit. I think celebrate neurodiversity and its strengths as well. You know, neurodiversity brings some really unique contributions, and really celebrate that, and that will put a positive spin on it, and also help the confidence of your employees, and it will help the rest of the team go, actually, yeah, that's fantastic. And fostering that collaborative space where everybody feels valued, supported and empowered to reach their full potential, really. Not sure how many those were.
There were many. So thank you. Thank you very much, because when you talk about it, sometimes it's better to highlight people that, okay, you can do this, and that's the way you get benefited. Because our work, your work, I would say, and my work is to signpost people that, okay, if you are a neurodivergent, if you are a disabled, you can be successful. Because sometimes we think that we are disabled, we are neurodivergent, there isn't any success. So to our audience, if you look properly, if you search, you will find thousands, or I'm not sure it's millions or not, but thousands of cases that neurodivergent people, they are successful. Yes, we talk about Elon Musk. He's a little bit different. People may like him or dislike him, it doesn't matter. But the work he is doing is different, changing the world. If you talk about Richard Branson, you see that the work he's doing is different. And you can find a lot of individual scientists, a lot of individual mathematicians, a lot of individual things. They are neurodivergent. Some of them are disabled, as I'm disabled, and you also have physical disabilities. We have a strength. So when you are disabled, when you are neurodivergent, you have some specific strength that those strengths can change the world, and we have to change the world for our future generation. My son, he's autistic, he's in high spectrum. Sometimes he asks me, Dad, what's wrong with me? I tell him most of the time that there isn't any wrong with you. You are special. You are so special, like Daddy is. Now he's thinking to become scientist. Like, okay, Dad, I wanted to become scientist. I want to do something great. He talk about space. He talk about time machines. He talk about age. Like, okay, to reduce my age, that I can live longer. These are the
Wow.
things. Yeah, these are the things. It's our future generation. They will bring
Yeah.
change, and if we do not nurture that, if we do not support them,
Mm.
it will not be changed, because we struggled, but at the end we got a better future, because
Mm.
we understood our inner self. Like, okay, I can be better, I can do better, and that will change. So to the audience, you thinking and your situation can be changed if you shout, if you seek helps. Otherwise, it can be changed. And here we are to support you. So, Christy, thank you very much. So, we're going to be talking just the last couple of minutes. What is your closing remarks to the audience? If you could share that with them.
I think, like you said, ask for help. Just ask for help. As an employee, ask for the help, because it might be that your employer wants to help that doesn't know that you need it. So really do. And as an employer, really keep that communication open. I think that's absolutely vital. Celebrate strengths, look for strengths, support where they need support. But yeah, keep that open door policy so that people are happy to come and talk to you.
Thank you. So to our audience, we've been talking for a long time now. So next week we will bring another guest, and we will talk more on neurodiversity. Specifically, we will bring some more programs with Krusty. We're going to be talking about that. I think you have enjoyed so far. And you know that when we do new things, it's always tickle. That okay, am I doing it right? You have done very good today, and I think our audience, they will give you a thumbs up for these events, because we need to talk more on how you can support. One thing that I would let the audience know, that if you wanted to have Krusty to talk about, I'm not sure that she will not charge you anything. She will talk to you, and then she can lead you to the career path, or lead you to the right, signpost you. Most of us, we don't charge them in the initial discussion. What we do, we just know you, and then we signpost you. Yes, if you work with individual people, they run businesses, they need to fulfill the specific elements of the businesses to sustain. Otherwise, most of the neurodivergent people will support you, because we know that what we've been through, and we will support you. If you need any support, feel free to contact us through social media. Krusty is there. And do you have any specific way that our audience can reach you?
It's usually best on LinkedIn, or you can email me. My email is kirsty@haywoodmacdonald.com. Haywood is Hey, MacDonald is MAC. So drop me an email, or you can go to our website, www.haywoodmacdonald.co.uk, with a few bits and pieces on there that you can look at. And there's a book a call. So if you wanted to book a good fit call, you could do that through the button on the website. So there's lots of different ways to contact. Either drop me a DM or an email.
Thank you, Krusty. Please stay on the line. I'm going to say bye-bye to the audience, and we will talk maybe a few more minutes. So to our audience, thank you very much for your time today. We have a great session. Together, we can change the world. Together, we can change our situations and our future, and our future generations. Because the seed you're going to be planting now, it will grow, and it will support many, many years to come. So thank you very much for your time. And I will welcome you next Tuesday with another guest. Until then, please support our work. and seek help if you need help. Thank you, and bye-bye.